Hi, and welcome to another live stream. We've done it a couple of times now, so we are really good at this.
Oh no, we're not. I'm still in charge of pressing buttons. It is not. It is not really good.
Yeah, me and Ogre just turn up and kind of like talk to a camera. And with that, say hi, Ogre.
Hi.
And the man in the seat with the button.
I don't know why. I wasn't expecting Claw to do the introduction. It completely took me by surprise.
Hi all.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And if you are watching live, drop us a line in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're from, all that kind of stuff. We'd just like to kind of like have a bit of a heads up to see who's on. We also kind of like always curious about where in the world you're watching us from. That's absolutely amazing. Kind of blows our mind a little bit. Ask us any questions as we go, and we'll try and read them as we go. We've got Dominic, hi, and we've got Brian, heyo, already. So tonight we're going to be talking about tags. And are they worth it or not? Or well, of course they are. Or anyway, this is a whole big question. Are tags worth it? Which we'll go into a little bit later. So without further ado, shall we have a look to see what Covers Belly have been up to?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got
He's got the buttons.
Painted picture or painted images of all the July releases. So I know we talked about them all a couple of weeks ago, but we're basically just going to drool over the nicely painted models for a few minutes.
Or are we?
Well, I am, because I'm not picky. So, first up, we have the painted pic of the Armbots. I think they look lovely.
Oh.
I think of all the painted models that are done, the Armbots are painted gorgeously. I think they are out and out stunning. They are the best painted ones out of them, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember Pano remotes having purple lenses and lights on them before. That could be my poor memory, but I think the purple really sort of stands out to me.
I think they were red, weren't they, normally? So
yeah.
It's a very Aleph thing in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I like them. So
no, good.
They do look great.
We next have the Bakunin booster pack, the trio of Initiated Observance and another Orphan, was it? Is that right? I think that was what was in it.
Yeah.
I think these look fine. Yeah, they look like the rest
fine.
of the Bakunin.
Fine is a good word.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the studio paint scheme on the Bakunin, and I don't know why. So I can't explain why. It just for some reason it doesn't jump out at me.
I'd love to know.
Bakuni. You know, after the pack that we got and did a review on it, was one of you taking up Bakunin and running with it?
I've got all the models assembled and undercoated, and I haven't started really painting them. I painted a couple of them. I painted Robin Hook, and I threw some paint on Agatha because I was curious to see how she functioned, but I haven't finished her either. Because I'm struggling to work out how I want to paint them. Because the standard way to be to paint them to look like nuns, so with wimples and stuff. But I don't know if that's going to work for with the rest of my nomads. Now, admittedly, I can't use most of them with the rest of my nomads, but I kind of want them to look coherent on the shelf.
They're quite colourful, your nomads, aren't they? So.
Yeah, they are very colourful. My Bakunin are on my shelf of opportunity. And again, I don't always do the colour schemes from the studio. And again, I'm not too sure how I would do it, what colours I'd go for either. I've got a white army. I've got a black army. I don't know.
You've got a green army.
I've got a green army. I've got lots of green. So yeah, I think I'd like all my armies to be kind of like different colours. So maybe yellow nuns. Is that a thing? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we've got the repack of the military orders stuff. So we've seen all these paint jobs before. Nice little.
I know it's going to be favourite release.
Nice little trio of models. I
think this is quite a nice little box, to be honest. Or blister, whatever it's going to be.
I might have to buy that one.
Have you not got all those already?
Not in that sculpt, no.
You don't,
All right.
you don't have that sculpt of Mendoza. You don't have that Santiago. I
No.
don't think you've got a Gabriel de Person at all, have you?
No, I don't. No, I haven't.
Okay, put it on the Christmas list.
Oh, thank you.
Next up,
I'll buy it.
we've got another reboxing next. We've got the Monks and Liang Kai. They're all lovely models. I don't have any of those, so I'll be picking them up, and they'll probably all be getting used as Monks, even because I already have a Liang Kai.
Nice. Nice little box. What have we got there, Claude?
2 Monks in Liang Kai.
All right.
So you don't need that box then.
I don't need that Kai. I've got a different Liang Kai. Well, yeah, it's yeah. I've got the 2 Monks in Liang Kai. I think they're great.
His little face, he's so excited.
I'm less excited about that. Next up, the painted picture of Phoenix. He still looks really grumpy to me. He looks really nice, but he looks really grumpy to me.
Yeah.
And that is a mighty mustache.
I don't think it's the right colour. I think he should have dark hair. I don't think he should be ginger or dark blonde. It doesn't look right to me.
No, it looks slightly better painted than it did unpainted.
It still looks uncomfortably high, that tactical rock.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like he's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's so grumpy. Maybe he's trapped something he didn't want to trap.
That could be it. Yeah, his leg armour has gone somewhere, leaving.
And next we have Yara, who I think looks lovely. I still like the sculpt, like the bits of cloth flapping in the breeze.
Yeah.
They're going to break off so easily.
They're not. I've told you, I'm putting money on it. They're going to be part of the backpack or something. They're going to be part of a piece. They're not going to be little fiddly bits. They'll be fine. And that means last up we have the Morat box set with the Zerat, the Preta, the Jawbot Brute, and the Hunter.
Yeah.
I think
I think these look great. However, I know you sent me a couple of close-up shots, Ogre. So let me know when you want to bring those up.
They look, from this angle, they look brilliant. Really, really like them. But then I accidentally zoomed in and noticed a couple of bits I wasn't that happy with.
Okay, so I'll bring up the close-ups and you can talk about them in detail. So on the left, we've got a leg, and on the right, we've got the neck armour and the bottom of the head.
Yeah, well, it's just not as neat and tidy and blended as I would like, really. I think they're okay, but I think once it gets to the stage where I think I can paint them better than the studio, something's gone wrong. I think it's more, usually when I look at models, I want to be inspired, I want aspirational, something to aim for. And just a little bit of this painting's a little bit slapdash for my liking. I know red and yellow are notoriously bad, but it's just, particularly the head one, it's just like unneat everywhere. It's just not, the lines aren't fine. Maybe we were spoilt with Angel, when he used to paint everything, but there's just the odd paint scheme job or paint job that just sneaks through, I think. And I think this is one of them. I don't know. Okay. I was a bit disappointed. Well, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
Well, it's still better than what I can manage, so I still think it's fantastic. And do you think it's because they had maybe too much to do and too little time to do it? Or do you think they're trying a different style, making it look go for more of a comic book look? Because that's kind of what it looks like to me when you zoom in.
Yeah, maybe. I just didn't notice it on the other releases. It was just. Maybe I took a bit more notice of the Morats because I'm more interested. But it was just, I don't know. I'm just disappointed, really. Yeah. I don't know. Really. I don't really notice who paints them anymore, to be honest. So maybe that's my fault.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the Pano bots are a lot better than them.
Yeah.
When you zoom in on the bots, they're an awful lot better. So maybe it's just somebody that they had to kind of like quickly paint these and get them out.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, blues and things are always better to blend. You know, reds and yellows are awful, but still, you could do a bit better than that, I think.
I'm going to stay in my glass house and say nothing. I think they look great.
I just noticed it and went off on a bit of a rant in there during the week. That was all it was.
It definitely got under your skin for some reason.
I was just so disappointed with it. You know, like, where's the? I want to aim to paint the same as these guys who paint studios and things. Do you know what I mean? The fact that I could have probably done better than that, I don't know, just got to me and annoyed me a bit.
So, you guys watching, what do you think? Pop your comments in. Let us know what you think of that painted, those painted models. And so, get good, bad, what do you reckon? But just drop a quick line and we'll read them out in a second. I've never been a Morat fan, so I kind of skipped straight past that. I kind of like the T-Rex type, little T-Rex thing. That looked quite good. It looks like they spent an awful lot more time on that than they did on the Hunters or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Why does that happen? But because the initial shot is great. The initial kind of full page thing looks great, and from a distance, ace. But okay.
Should we move on to happier topics?
Yes.
Because I think we had some questions we were asked a couple of weeks ago that we never got around to answering, didn't we, Claw?
We did.
Do you have them to hand?
I do have them to hand. It's from Croby. Okay. Hello, Croby. And he asked a couple of weeks ago, here are some questions I would love to know about you guys. So the first couple of questions are, what got you into Infinity and how long you've been playing? Well, for me, that's easy. What got me into Infinity? Storm Shroud. I bought a starter set and said, play this. And how long I've been playing? Since he told me to. So that's the easy one for me. What about you, Storm Shroud? Because obviously you got all of it before I did.
I found the first edition book. I have this horrible habit of picking up rule sets just to read them and learn how different people have approached the various problems and things you get when you're playing any sort of miniatures game. And I picked up the Infinity book, and even first edition with its, let's be honest, terrible translation into English, I could see that there was a nugget in there of a really good game. And having tried to persuade people to play it and getting nowhere, I gave up. And then second edition arrived, and I tried again. And when no one listened to me the second time, I cheated, and I bought a bunch of people's starter sets and said, now you've got to play because I'm guilting you into it.
Yeah, I got left, you know. You got me at the left starter box.
I did get you the left starter box, and that got you hooked.
Yeah.
So I've been playing on and off since first edition because it's awesome.
Well, I'd kind of heard about it in second and bought a second edition rulebook, but then kind of dabbled slightly and then didn't do anything. But then when I heard third edition was coming out, I kind of went and got the starter box and found myself another tame player called Glenn in the Preston Harlequin store. And we basically just taught ourselves through Ice Storm. I did Nomads, he did Pano, and we just kind of like learned our way through there, really. So I don't even know how long ago was that? 7 years? 8 years? I don't know, really. The reason I started Infinity, though, was I just got a bit annoyed with 40k, really. Because people didn't play it like I wanted them to play it. I wanted them to play with kind of nice armies and like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, not kind of full conquest thing. And then I used to love playing Necromunda. But there was also stuff I wanted to do, and it seemed to me that Infinity allowed me to play a game in the way I wanted to play it and do all the crazy stuff and the kind of blowing things up with G-charges, etc. It just seemed to work in what I wanted a game to do. and that's kind of why I initially found it and then moved into it.
I know exactly what you mean. When I found it, it felt like grown-up gaming. Having
Yeah.
come from 40k, where it felt very structured in what you could and couldn't do. Suddenly being able to go through doors, close doors on people, put decharges on things, have tokens on the board that you didn't know what they were. It was eye-opening. It was fantastic.
The fact that you could have models on your list that you didn't actually put down. They were a surprise. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, you just didn't get that in any other game, really. And it's so much more involved, and I think it's because you're always playing. 40k is a typical example. Is you're either active or you're inactive. When you're inactive, you're rolling a bunch of dice and taking a load of models off. That is it. In Infinity, you're going, I saw your dude cross the road. I'm shooting him, mate. And it's just as simple as that. Simple as that. You're always playing in Infinity.
Yeah.
Do you want to quickly catch up on the chat? Because it's going quite quickly and we might miss things if we don't.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Let's go right to the start then. So, Paul. Hello, Paul. Yeah, I remember you. Rolf, hi. Steve Cooper. Hi, Steve. Ralph from Germany. Good evening, Ralph. Psychotic Storm. Good evening. Is that one of your relations?
It's nothing to do with me.
Keith Shuttler. Good evening, peoples of the many spheres. Good evening, Keith. Steve Cooper says the Phoenix looks like he has groin strain. Yes, he does.
Yes.
I think a good thing there. Crouching Otter. I like the Osnat and the Hungries so much, so I'm going to buy them and replace the ones I already have. I think the models look great. There's nothing, like we said last couple of weeks ago on his last live, I think they look absolutely good. It's just the painting's not fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Cooper, I have to agree. I'm not keen, but I think it's more down to the clash of colours in the army paint scheme, like you said, Olga, the oranges and the yellows and things. CJF, good evening, all. Good evening, CJF. I'm glad to have you along. Psychic Storm, nice rulebook collection of hobby of mine too. So another rulebook collector. So are you sure he's not a relative?
If he is a relative, I'm completely unaware of it, and it's definitely not an alternate account. It's not me, bumping our chat rating.
Keith Shuttler says, I've played regularly since the first edition and with you, Storm Shroud, it's freaking awesome. A fan for you there, dude. Couple of Dan, the Dino model makes me want to collect Morats.
Morons.
Morats.
If he wants Morons, he's definitely in the right place. He's got 3 right here.
The Dino bot does look good, Kubla Dan. It does look good. We've got CJF. Out of all the factions, which is your main go-to one? That's to all 3. I can answer that one now. Yujing. I love Yujing.
Do you? I had not noticed your preference for Yujing.
I didn't think you were going to say it. I thought you might have said Pano as of recent. No.
No, they're just Yujing, but in blue.
For me, it changes from month to month, but I think at the moment I'd probably say Nomads.
Keep watching for next week's battle report for the reason why.
Oh, blimey. More spoilers already. For me, it's kind of been Ariadne, really. And then I've forced myself over the last year or two to play other things. So I've played Nomads, Corregidor mainly. I've played Hack Islam, with Assassins. I played Void this week, back with some Cosmoflot.
Was he playing Shazbasti?
It was playing Shazbasti. I think it was actually vanilla combined.
You mentioned an avatar, so it must have been vanilla.
Oh, I see. There you go. Yeah. So there was definitely an avatar present. So, but that that kind of, I think I I feel like Ariadna's my kind of base game. They're my favourites.
Okay, so back to the chat. So Dan says, I almost forgot about this. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. I'm not so if it's good morning for you, you must be in the colonies. Good morning, colonies. Keith, Ice Storm was released about 2014, Ogre.
Oh,
so
don't. You'll make me feel old.
that's 10 years.
I mean, I know I am old, but you'll make me feel it.
Crouching O says, oh yeah, Corvus Belly haven't managed to find anyone to match Angel, which is perfectly understandable, given that no one can match that guy. He's pretty good. He is pretty good. And Crouching Otter says, for me, it was always supposed to be Nomads as my main force. He started with Ice Storm, finally doing them. So finally getting around to doing the one he wanted to do right at the beginning. Well done, Crouching Otter. And Void Spear says combined.
Yeah, of course he does.
Hi, buddy. Nice to have you along, mate.
That's it. Just ask him how big 12 inches is.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Right, so back to the original question from Kroby. How have your playstyles evolved or changed over time? For me, it's essentially, we've got a little meta going on between me and Storm, where we kind of try and outdo each other from week to week. And when Storm brings something, I will learn and change my lists and style to kind of counter that, so I can start winning again. And so basically, it's always evolving. I think lately, I'm kind of liking the Evo hackers at the moment. Boosting the remotes. I'm kind of finding that Evo hackers are going into my list a little bit more. Even if they're not in my list as Evo hackers, they are disguised as Evo hackers.
But then when you move them too fast, it gives you the game away real quick.
Yeah, the Evo hackers don't move 6'4". But by that time, I didn't care. So yeah, for me, I'm kind of slowly getting towards Evo hacking. And right at the beginning, it was all about tags and heavy infantry and all that kind of stuff. And let's face it, heavy infantry is still there, but it does evolve as I'm countering the guy I normally play, which is Stormshred. So what about you, Ogre?
Oh, well, I was just saying, Ariadne was my kind of first thing. So there's no hacking, there's no remotes. It's just, basic guys doing basic stuff, really, which is kind of how my brain works when it comes to the game as well. So I've evolved by forcing myself to use remotes and also forcing myself to use hacking. And possibly as we get onto later, forcing myself to use tags as well. But it's, I mean, that's kind of what I do. I think my basic setting is very basic stuff. Blokes with guns, high burst, do basic stuff. And then the rest of it, I force myself to do. And I think what's helped for me is forcing myself to do that. You kind of know what's coming at you from the other side of the table. So the more knowledge you've got of different armies, the easier it is almost to counter attack it or what have you or counter it. That would be the word. When it's coming against you, you've seen it, you sort of know what it does, and that's kind of, for me, that's how I've evolved, is learning more things, knowing what things do. I also seem to remember lots of weird stats for ballistic skills and dodging and things, which kind of helps.
I can't even remember what's in front of me, to be fair.
So that's about me. Storm, what about you?
I think like lots of us, we get attracted into the game with some of the big models, like the tags and the things that look, ooh, wow. And then you expect them to, just rule the board and dominate, and they just don't. So I've definitely moved into a huge appreciation for board control pieces, repeaters, mine layers, those annoying little things you put halfway up the board that get in your opponent's way and slow them down. That's definitely where my playstyle has evolved into, and I feel quite comfortable with it now. And I do enjoy that. To the point now that often when I build a new army, I go, I've gone, oh yes, I've got all these wonderful cool toys. Oh shoot, I've got no gunfighters.
hence me getting some repeater removers.
Oh, is that what they are? Okay.
Yeah, for removing repeaters.
Oh dear.
Okay, the next one was, what's your favourite model and what's your favourite profile? Well, my favourite model is the was limited edition, no longer limited edition now. Corvus Belly, right there. Ninja with bow. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous sculpt. Even it's quite old now, and it's still for me the one that I spent a lot of money getting Scarhand painting to paint up for me. And yeah, I've got one on the shelf. I've got one in a baggie down there, and I've got one that's I use in my army. So I've got 3 of them, and that's before, and that's when I had to pay a lot of money for them because they were limited edition. But now they're not limited edition. I'm not bitter. They are
a little bit bitter, just a little bit bitter.
A favorite profile. Do you know what? It's probably Bixie at the moment because I've been looking at it.
All right.
Okay.
It will go. It will change from week from day to day, hour to hour. The last one I really looked at and thought, "Oh, that looks good," was Bixie.
I haven't really looked at her at all, to be honest, as a profile, because she doesn't really go in any army I've got. So I've just ignored her totally.
Fair enough. She can run and jump and stab people.
All right, okay. Yeah, just tell me how to kill her. That's all I want to know.
Bullets.
Okay then, Ogre, your favourite model and profile. I'm letting you go next because I want some more time to think. So I'm.
Well, exactly. I was hoping I was going to do the same to you. I think I'm going to have to say Margot and Durok as my 2 favourites.
The new ones or the old ones?
The new one, yeah, the new ones. Just Ariadne-wise, I've been a fan of kind of wolves and dog warriors and various other bits and pieces. But I think
you like Durok,
yeah, like you do. Because it was obviously Bears I was gonna say, but I'm not I'm not the hugest fan of the Bear sculpt. So I think, but Durok I think is absolutely amazing. It's like absolutely spot on, and I think he's my favourite, along with his Red Riding Hood little friend. And I think to some extent I'm going to pick them as my favourite profile as well, because what's not to love about a parachuting kind of big werewolf guy?
I can think of a few things that's hard to like about him.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if you're using him, what's not to like? I think, but I think that kind of the whole kind of the big impetuous idiot guy with chain rifles and smoke and with that just I love that kind of thing. It just amuses me. And I think, like I've said before, at the start of your turn, and you don't know what to do, well, I'm going to charge the great big werewolf guy into something. When it's kind of gets the turn going, gets the whole team, hopefully, all guys, going.
Okay.
See what he does, and we'll follow him. I think.
So you're consistent.
Have you had time to think now, Storm?
Yeah. So, favorite sculpt, I'm going to go with Maggie, the Magariba Guard.
Oh, right.
I think that the resculpt they did on that, the tag with the giant scorpion tail, is just phenomenal. Even now, because it's got to be getting on a few years now since they resculpted the Magariba Guard, but it still looks fantastic to me. And also it fits in with tonight's topic of tags, so I'm staying vaguely on point. Favorite profile, I'm going to say the Heckler with the fast panda and the jammer
I
because it's just
broken.
silly
It's
and broken.
broken.
But it's hilarious because it's something you just...
Not hilarious.
Okay, it's not hilarious. We'll leave that there then.
It's underhanded, unfair. You kind of like started halfway up the board. You run a bit. You're camoed up. You run a bit. Then I thought, okay, well, let's discover you. And then if I fail to discover you, then you run a little bit further. Then when I do discover you, you decide, oh, I'm going to chuck a fast panda now. So all of a sudden, there's a fast panda in my deployment zone.
And that's why it's my favourite profile. Should we move on quickly before we get you get more upset?
Let's have a quick look back on the chat.
Okay.
Okay, so Void says 12 inches. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
Keith, you move Evo hackers only when they're not Evo hackers. I think mine was a Ludian. It was disguised as an Evo hacker just in case a Van Zandt landed behind me. Psychic Storm, well, they have baggage, so they move. Yeah, if you've got an Evo hacker, that is something you can use for me to score that zone. You can just move it forward a little bit and it's done. Keith says Ariadne hacker is T2 ammo.
When you hack your opponent limb from limb, there's not a lot they can do.
Right.
Stacky Storm, well, they always have their practical nation in hacking. Dan, with all of the great war bands, Ariadne has always had the best hacking. Crouching Tiger, my favourite mini from a faction I don't play is the Crouching Undercut from a hack.
Oh, the Hun's a cutie. She's lovely.
Yeah, that is a nice one. CJF. Now I know who CJF is. Hi, bro. Who's the most competitive between us?
I think
it's got to be Claw, hasn't it?
Oh,
I think so. I think me and Greg can pretend, can't we, Storm, that we're competitive.
As a general rule, I don't get that competitive when I'm playing. There's one game that makes me competitive, and I don't play because I know it makes me a not nice person, and that's Blood Bowl. I don't play Blood Bowl anymore because it makes me a not nice person.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
there are a few games that makes you a not nice person. I'll tell you.
That's different. Me playing games and you taking a dislike to me is different to a game that I know makes me a not nice person to play against. I think we're all about equal. To be fair, we all like to win, but we'd all rather have a good game and lose.
Yeah. That's true.
Than just win at any cost.
Yeah, I do try. I try to win. I do. When I write my list, I try and think what am I going to be facing, all that kind of. I do try. But at the end of the day, I keep losing. So, hey.
I think the problem is as well with the three of us, one of us always gets a bit silly, which kind of puts everybody, then it becomes into entertainment and amusement rather than actual, something will happen and it'll just completely ruin any competitive edge. And it will, like Fast Pandas, for example.
We got competitive at that one. We did get competitive at the end of the Tale of Four Pandas. Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson's actually settled it. You, Ogre, are the most competitive. He's played all three.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for that, bro. Okay, Ralph says, my favourite model is one I never play, and that's the... Oh, dear. How do you pronounce that? I've never... Yeah, with Spitfire. Favorite profile I play from the time is the Libertos.
Libertos are good. They are undervalued.
Yeah. Hecklers from Psychic Storm. Hecklers demand to be painted as Saturn Waldorf. Yes, they do. Jericho. Hi, Jericho. I like my War Driver Evo hacker in Tertiary. Nobody expects a hacker in Tertiary. No, they don't. Keith, who is the saltiest? Me.
Yeah, that's definitely you, I'm afraid, Claw.
I do try, but when I'm being kind of like pummeled into the ground, it's hard not to be a bit. I do try. I try not to be crying all the time.
You just have to try and see the funny side of it. 2 or 3 years down the road, you might find it funny.
2 or 3. Dan, one thing I really appreciate about Fast Panda is that none of you seem overly competitive. It's refreshing to see on the interwebs. Oh, thank you, Dan.
It's very kind of you. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, and back to the original questions.
Eventually, we'll talk about tags.
Eventually. What time is it? We've only been doing it half an hour. What is your most memorable and cinematic moment from one of your Infinity games? Well, I think I've been thinking about this. I've got loads of good things that I've looked back and made me laugh, and I've got good memories over. Even my whole army being burnt to death by you, Mr. Paul Henderson, by a stupid baggage bot. That makes me laugh.
Oh, you complain about that almost every week. It's brilliant.
It's funny, that's why. But another one that kind of sticks into my head is actually one where I played Ogre. And I had Scarface and Cordelia in a fight with Murdo. And you're smiling already because you remember. You just remember. And we were describing how the fight was going off. Scarface was in hand-to-hand with McMurdo, and then Cordelia kind of joined in afterwards for the next one. So I got an extra hit, which we kind of thematically said that was Cordelia's damage, and she got decharges. So we kind of like thought, okay, well, she's going to put a hand up his kilt with a decharger and place it just where his jewels were, and that to me was absolutely brilliant. It really was funny. So for me,
for quite a long time.
We were in stitches. We were both in stitches at the time. But I've got loads of memories like that. But that's one that just suddenly come to my head. What about you, Storm? What's a good memory for you?
Oh, okay. I've got a couple that spring to mind from older editions. So way back in the day, you used to have to pass a physique roll to climb. So I had a ninja trying to get over a fence. He spent 4 orders trying to climb over this bleeding fence. I just had an image of a ninja holding onto the top of the fence, the legs pedaling like mad, just not being able to climb a fence, whilst everyone stares at him going, "What are you doing?" And the other one goes back to a game again a long time ago between you and me, Claw, where you were beating me soundly, and you had the Sphinx, and you decided you were going to push your luck and just move the Sphinx around the corner with your last order of the last turn. You're going to come around the corner, you were going to try and kill somebody, and you didn't realise you'd moved into range of a hacker, got possessed and counted as dead, and that swung the game. Because you were just so determined that you were going to kill those last few models with the Sphinx. It was just, that's the other one that sticks in my head.
That's cool.
Okay.
For me, the two that come to mind, there's been loads, like I say, absolutely loads. There was one where I played another Greg from the Plastic Crack blog from a few years back. And I was using Morats against, I think it was his Steel Balance. And it must have been Capture Being Protect or something, and I needed to get to his beacon on the other side of the table. And I just used all the orders I'd left on one Datarazzi, and he moved and got shot at, and everybody missed. And then he moved and got shot at, and everybody missed. And he got all the way across the table to the beacon, and just as he got there, he got shot in the head.
Oh.
But he'd taken all the orders he had left in that last turn, and it was just this dash across the board, and he survived all the way right to the end, and then died. But there you go. And then more recently, when I played Void in the Battle of Four Gamers, when he attacked McMurrow with his Shazvasti Heidi person whose name I can't remember at all.
Speculo?
Speculo, thank you. The Speculo jumped out, attacked him, missed completely, and then got sliced in half by the murder. That was nice. That did make me chuckle a lot. Cheers, Void.
Okay, and what factions and sectorials do you feel are most flexible and allow for a variety of playstyles? Also, on the flip side of that, which do you think are the least flexible?
Wow.
Oh, can I go first?
Of course you can.
I would say Vanilla Nomads and Vanilla Ariadna to me feel the most flexible. I think you can play them a variety of ways and have good results with them. But I'm a staunch fan of Vanilla. As for least flexible, I think it's JSA. I think there's 2 or 3 ways to play them to make them work, and everything else.
Shazvasti are pretty much there's only really one playstyle for Shazvasti as well, where it's sneaky and careful rather than kind of push forward. Can't think of many other playstyles for Shazvasti.
Would you say Vanilla combined are almost one playstyle as well?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say. I know a lot of people lean into the Avatar trope with them quite a lot, but
I basically anybody who goes to Vanilla combined always has an Avatar is kind of where I'm leading to with that.
Maybe that's where I went wrong when I took them to a tournament and didn't take an Avatar and lost everything. That's where I went wrong.
Clearly. I would add Hack Islam, maybe Vanilla Hack Islam, or even Assassins has got loads of different ways to do it. That's pretty. The Ariadna's. Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? What about Eugene though? I think Vanilla Eugene's got loads of stuff.
Yeah, I could just play Eugene and associated styles just by picking different units. You've got the Sujan, which is the fast kind of stuff, and then you've got all the robots, and then you've got a selection of tags and mini tags, and then you've got the light infantry of the Zensha and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's loads of ways in using. That's probably why I like them. Okay. The last question from Kroby was, what unit or sectorial are you most waiting for new models?
The French.
Oh,
I think they're coming.
I think they're coming too. The French are the ones I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah. Oh, do we think? What are all the models that have just come up for 40%? Spiral Core and
Toha.
Yeah. Do we think they're coming soon? Does that surely means they're coming soon, doesn't it?
Maybe next year. Maybe they get a big resculpt next year. I don't know.
Yeah, depending on how the new reinforcements rules go, you could have reinforcements from Toha. If you're fighting Morats and things like that, you might be able to get some reinforcements of Toha. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what all that reinforcement stuff is and what options it brings to armies. I am intrigued. What are you looking forward to getting a resculpt, Claw?
Probably the kind of medium bots remotes for Yujing, the Rushi and the Ludian. They're ready for redoing. Seeing as they've been doing all the bots recently, I'm kind of waiting nicely for them to come through. They're looking a bit old.
Okay. And they'd be nice to come in that plasticky, resiny CO-cast stuff.
Yeah, so when I drop them, they don't shatter into pieces.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Myrmidons and Ajax.
They're coming
I'm kind of quietly looking forward to doing a Steel Balance army. But I think until they come out, I'm going to, leave it. The rest of the stuff's starting to come out now, isn't it? Machion and
bits and pieces are coming.
On the big box guy, groin strain. What's off the kind? But I think once the other stuff comes out, I think I might wander into that. So I think that's the thing I'm waiting for.
Okay, so let's have another look at the chat. Psychic Psychotic Storm says, entirely understandable, Claw. Entirely understandable. I think that's for me being salty. CJF, is there one thing you'd like to change rule-wise? For me, I think all hackers should be banned and removed from the game. You guys don't know this yet, but if you watch next week's battle report, everything will be explained.
Oh dear.
I did a bad thing.
Yeah, so if you want a trailer for next week, watch next week's battle report. It's quite interesting.
Oh,
what about you, Ogre?
I don't know. What was the question again? I'm too amused.
Is there one
change?
Would you like to change one rule?
I don't know really. I don't have a massive problem with any of it. If I'm totally honest, I think I'm quite happy with how things go. The only thing I don't like is when, recently there's been an update, and then kind of people jump on the little minutiae of rules and things. So I would somehow prefer it to be all very, very clear, with more examples maybe when new rules and things come out. But I don't have a massive problem really with any of it.
I'm the same. I don't have a massive problem. The one thing I would like to change is a teeny tiny thing that's annoyed me since they moved to 4th. When you get healed, and when you've been unconscious and you get healed, I don't understand why you leap back to your feet for free. You should stay prone. That's how it used to work. I don't understand why all of a sudden everyone just goes boing.
Fair enough. Okay, so Psychotic Storm says the Fide as an impersonation marker against hack was a nice touch. Yeah. He also says I would say Shazvasti can be played offensive without much cloak and dagger, but need a different approach. Shazvasti you can't go all in with Shazvasti. You've kind of got to go sneaky and slow with Shazvasti, I think. I'm probably disagreeing with you there, Psychotic Storm, sorry. Keith Shutter says impersonation rules needs tightening. You'll have to elaborate on that a bit more, Keith, I think.
Was that tidying? Sorry.
Tightening.
Right, okay.
Steve Cooper, the extra are coming, I hope.
It will be nice to see the insects back.
They're the bugs. I like it. They I think, because they'll look a lot different to what we've got now, I think that they should be cool. Crouching Otter, I wish they'd redone the Cyclone and the look at all the other one.
Yeah. That can't be too far off, surely. It's going to look quite a lot like the other big remotes, isn't it? They're going to be similar, much pretty similar. Oh, what was the one that came out in the X Beyond box?
Oh, one of the first, the Vostok.
Thank you. I think that's two of these running where I can't remember the name of the Vostok. But yeah, it's going to be very similar to that, isn't it? Surely, so they can't be far away.
No, but they've just released them as a Rebox with the new crazy koalas, but the same old sculpts for the two Sputniks. Yeah. I agree. I was surprised to see that on the release schedule. Unless they've taken the old molds, but they're going to be and tweak them so they can use them with Seocast. I don't know, but when do they land? End of this month, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They've got a stupid fin thing at the back of the Cyclone, and that is. I've left mine off.
I lost mine, so I'm never worried about
it. Okay, so a new tractor mule in plastic, hopefully. That'd be cool. The tractor mule in plastic.
Yeah.
It is due.
Yeah, it is due. Steve Cooper's telling you it is a Vostok. Thank you. Keith says the language of the rules for impersonation and how it clashes with other activities. Okay. So when you're impersonation, what you can do, what you can't do, how you. Yeah, okay. But I think that's kind of like there'd been an awful lot of paragraphs for one skill.
I'll
if
have to
they're
go
going to do
back
that.
and have a reread. I don't remember it being
Too bad.
too
Wow.
bad, but I could be wrong. My memory could be playing tricks on me.
And the and the Salyuts.
Yeah, the Evo hacker for Nomads definitely needs a resculpt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they what they're doing. Okay, we have been rattling on for 50 minutes. We haven't mentioned tags.
To be fair, I tried. I mentioned tags several times in the model I liked and stuff, but yeah, maybe we should get to what we were going to talk about.
I think it's probably a good idea. Okay, so I've got a few tags. I've got the invisible ones, the Sphinx, and the one for the Pano, the Cutter. I've got Marut, I've got Guelo, I've got Scarface. So I have got a few tags. I like tags. Tags are cool. But they take up an awful lot of points in your list. So 70 to 80 points of your list, 90 points of your list, depending on what you take, which is a massive amount of orders because you're going to get one and you're tactical. So you're losing an awful lot of orders. And they're also a bullet magnet or a hacker magnet when they are on the table. So because I play a Storm Shroud who is very good at countering them, I kind of write my list and I think I'd love a tag, but then I think it's going to get hammered straight away. And I've like to take the 30, 40 point models anyway. So I might only take 10 orders. And when there's a tag in there, I might be only taking 8. So my question is, and this is my question, I'll hold my hand up, is are tags worth taking? Because they take up a lot of points. They are reasonably easy to counter. And are they worth it? Really? That was my question. But we can answer that as we go along. So put your comments down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are they worth it? Yes, they are very cool. Yes, they have big guns. Are they worth it? Pop your notes in the comments, and we'll read them. So read them in a second. But Storm Shroud has set us homework.
We know both the way the answer is it depends. The answer to every question in Infinity is always it depends.
It's always going to be it depends, and I know that. But every question we post on these live streams is going to be it depends. But we want to know what you think. So pop your comments in. Homework was set by Storm Shroud for me and Ogre. So we've been busy all week working out some answers to this. And you're supposed to.
Okay. Yeah. God.
The first question was your favorite tags. So, Storm, what's your favorite tag? What's your favorite tag, sir?
My favorite tag to put in lists is probably a gecko because it's not 70, 80, 100 points. It's 50, which means you can put it in a list and you're getting a 3 structure model with a decent ballistic skill, good guns, the extra order, all the other stuff you get with the tags, but you haven't eaten up as much of your points value. It's smaller, so it's easier to hide. I like the geckos in lists. I like the cheaper tags in general.
Is it a tag though, or is it really heavy infantry?
It's a tag. It says tag in the profile.
It can unfortunately be possessed.
Tag.
It can indeed be possessed. Yes, that's when it goes wrong, but it can definitely be possessed.
I've had that happen. So that's a good answer, though. I like that.
What's your favourite? Okay.
Even as I sat there, I was going through about 4 or 5. I'm going to say the Jotun. It's a great big chunk of metal. Come and get me, bro. Kind of tag, isn't it? It just kind of.
It's got the highest armor, though, hasn't it?
You what? Sorry?
It's got a massive armor.
Armor 10. So you stand behind the building, and your small arms aren't going to make any difference to it whatsoever.
Put your toe behind a little tiny bit of scenery, and you're away.
Exactly. A little small bush, a little little brick on the floor somewhere, and you're in cover. I don't know. And I mean, having said that, being my favourite, I haven't used it very much. I find it tends to either do brilliantly or die very, very quickly, and very, very little in between. But I think that's my favourite. Great big, if you're going to take one, take a great big chunk of metal. That's the way I see it.
For me, it's a slightly different reason for being my favourite, and it's Scarface. I like Scarface because you can bring an engineer with you. As a nice duo, and Scarface has got the story behind it. It's got the narrative behind it of how he was brought up, and he's got a lovely story behind it. It's got a lot of narrative. It's got him and his sister now kind of battling through a bit mercenaries that are not quite liked by quite a lot of factions, and that's why I like Scarface. It's not because of the profile or anything else. I think it's because of the narrative that comes with him. For me,
that's fair.
Okay, so the next question posed by Mr. Stormshroud was overrated tags. Ogre, which do you think is an overrated tag? And I think you've got it depends. Yeah.
Well, exactly, it does. I mean, I think I don't know about overrated. The Shikush, the new Hakistan. I just don't see the point in it. But I don't know if it's overrated because I'm not sure anybody even likes it. I keep there's so many tags flying through my head. The Sphinx, I think, is the one that should be brilliant, but often goes horribly wrong, and you end up not doing anything with it. You know what I mean? It's expensive, but it's got tricks. You can, appear from here or there, but usually you're too close and somebody hacks you or can get into combat with you or use a Fide against you and get into your front arc. But I think the Sphinx is, to me, a little overrated because it's maybe a little trickier to use. So, how about that?
Yeah. I've got to admit, I was looking through the tags that I own that I've got experience with, and the tags that I've come across, and I don't think there are any really overrated tags as such because they're all do what they say on the tin. They've got the armor, they've got big guns, they can get themselves into all kinds of trouble. So I personally don't think there is anything that's generally overrated as such, but I can be taught otherwise. Stormshroud, I'm sure you've got an opinion because you set the question.
I tossed this up back and forth between the Sphinx and the one I finally settled on, which was the Cutter.
The two I've got.
the two you've got, because, and the reason's the same in both of them. They are such a big investment in points in hidden deployments that it's not a surprise. You look at your opponent's army and you go, okay, it's there somewhere. I don't know where.
To the point where during games where I brought the Cutter, for example, I have been consciously checking lines of sight from 2 or 3 different points throughout the game just to make it worth the time. It's there,
yeah,
but you don't know where it is. So I'm having to kind of check lines of sight from 3 different places.
If you play in such a way that you're just going to carry on playing the rest of your game, you're going to deal with it when it turns up, then it doesn't affect. All you're effectively doing is, I find, is playing with a 100-point deficit. Especially if you end up going second and you put it in hidden deployment, you're basically trying to get through your first turn with 200 points rather than 300 points. And if your opponent can clearly see you're missing points, so they can take the opportunity to use things like combat jump, parachutist, Ramboing up the side with something fast to take away the orders. And you've got to choose, do I bring the Cutter out now and try and deal with that whilst I'm at a disadvantage and lose all of the stuff I paid for? Or do I try and weather the storm and then have enough orders left to actually use the Cutter? Which is why I think the Cutter and the Sphinx, for a similar reason, but I think the Sphinx gets away with it more for me because it's in Shazvasti. There could be other things there that you're not seeing. There could be a couple of Noctifers. There could be some of those camo tokens might be models rather than mines. So for me, I thought the cutter was overrated. That's where I landed, and I'm sure people will disagree with me because I know the cutter is very popular.
Fair enough. Okay, so if you were going to taking a tag with you, what do you need to support that tag in your list? For me, if I put a tag in the list, I will automatically put a killer hacker and I will automatically put an engineering. If I can get them if I can get the ninja with bow killer hacker in, that's kind of got forward deployment and all that kind of stuff, I would try and pick that so I can place it on the board, in the direction that I'm going to be traveling with my tag.
Yeah.
I'm giving my secrets away to Storm.
Let me write this down.
That is not a secret. If there is a Guizia or a Blue Roof, there's probably a Ninja Killer Hacker somewhere.
But that's how I automatically do support if they're on. How about you two?
Engineers are a must. Killer hackers are a must. Other hackers, I think, are also very useful. And smoke or something like that, so you can cut off lines of fire and pick the firefights you want to have. So you don't want to be taking on the fire team with a missile launcher. Okay, they've got 6th sense, but if you don't shoot at them, then that smoke grenade is going to stop them seeing you, and you can deal with other stuff. Smoke grenades, assuming you can get access to them, for me, if you're taking a tag or a must. In addition to what you've said.
Just talk to me, guys, about what you feel about the killer hacker being better than the normal hacker. Are we literally saying we're clearing a path for for your tag to go with the killer hacker? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so things like getting repeaters down around your tag so that your killer hackers and hackers can remove obstacles that are going to come after your tag. So, for example, if I'm playing Nomads, I will almost always take a Tunguska Interventor killer hacker because I think it's a brilliant killer hacker, and B, if I've taken something like a Gecko, I can use that killer hacker to get up the board, throw a fast Panda in the way, and with the bonuses it gets and its massive BTS, I can be fairly confident it's going to win that hacking fight, and then I don't have to worry about getting my Gecko possessed. It works brilliantly with is it the Iguana that's a repeater on its own?
Yeah. True.
Oh, the Stigmata one now. That's cool.
Engineers, definitely. And then, a hacker. But how about a second tag? Has anywhere of you guys done a 2 tag list?
Well, we've come across them. Hi, Gaz, by the way.
I've done it a couple of times with Bimbo Rats. I think I've done ratio and bull track once on camera.
Yeah.
But it comes down to points again at that point. If you're taking 2 tags, you really are leaving yourself a lot of room for other stuff. Yeah.
I've often wondered about the 2 geckos and the gator as I think you can take them as a 3, can't you? As a Harris team.
Yeah, I think you can take them as a Harry's, which I think is funny.
Which takes us to the last question posed by Mr. Stormshroud. Countering tags.
Now hopefully the comments have told us lots of things about tags being worth it and may have answered the question of countering tags for us.
Yeah, well, we'll have a look at that in a second. Countering tags, big guns, missile launchers. That's what I like. I like big guns. I like missile launchers, rail guns, snipers, everything.
I've got 3 letters. SAS.
Yes. Exactly.
SAS, having a fist fight and popping a decharge on your head. Yes, SAS are great.
Most tags don't like close combat. There's 1 or 2 that are half decent, but most tags do not like being in close combat. They don't have fantastic close combat skills. Is there one with martial arts? I think there's one with martial arts, one with natural born warrior. The Blue Wolf's got natural born warrior, doesn't it? I think.
The Gator's got something, hasn't it? I think.
But there's not a lot. There's not a lot of tags that like when people get up close and personal. So anything that can do well in close combat, I find generally does quite well against tags.
Well, this takes me back to the question for the live stream. The countering tags, you can shoot them with missile launchers and rocket launchers and heavy machine guns and kill them. You can take them over with hacking. You can shut them down with hacking. You can totally mess them up with hacking. You can also take them out with close combat quite easily, like you said, which is basically all three forms of attack. So why bother taking?
Do we want to see what the viewers think about why we should take tags?
I think because we put the question out to them. I think we should. Would you? Are you in a position to read the comments, Storm, or do you want me to do it?
I can start off, and you can take over in a bit when I start getting people's names wrong.
Okay.
Where did we get to? I think
Steve has
tags are like American Express cards. Don't leave home without one. Okay.
The thing is,
I've never had an American Express card, so I always leave home without one.
They are so many points. It's so easy to counter. Go on, sorry.
Crouching also has, I love tags. Loving the Gator at the moment. Oh, I love tags too. I think we all love tags. They look awesome. They are wonderful centerpiece models, and they are so tempting when you look at the stat line. But it does go wrong. I find, I agree with you, it goes wrong more often than it goes right.
Yeah, totally.
Steve Cooper tells Void, you don't have to leave home without your Amex card, but you can't use it anywhere.
Not in the UK, you can't, can you, Alfie?
And then I believe he is agreeing with the answer of it depends.
Yeah.
Jericho next. He only played his Zeta in 150-point lists. And he finds in 300-point lists it's too easy to counter.
Oh my God.
Oh!
Taking a sledgehammer to a pin.
Jericho, you mean person.
Wow.
Dan Fock, the most popular answers in Infinity are it depends and for what mission. You're not wrong.
It depends. Yeah. All the questions to the on the live streams are the answer is going to be it depends.
I've lost my place.
Keith Sutter says all tags are worth playing except the iguana.
Really? I kind of like the iguana.
Yeah. Sort of 4 wounds, isn't it?
It's got the ejectable pilot. It's a repeater on its own.
Psychic Storm says it's an interesting question. It depends, of course. But personal preference takes precedence. I play the Geija quite well, for example, but I've not managed to make the Blue Wolf work for me yet. I kind of prefer the Blue Wolf because it's less points. And I think it's got a few more I think it's a lot more useful than the Geija, the Blue Wolf. So for me, I'd go the other way. I prefer the Blue Wolf rather than Geija.
Again, it's a small tag. It's easier to hide.
It is. Yeah. That small tag thing, it's kind of worth it. Void, favorite tag is definitely the Overdrawn Battoroid, 50-ish points, and he's packing a libido.
Yeah.
I don't play it, so I wouldn't know.
Now, I've caught up now. I know where we are.
You are? Okay.
Mr. Henderson says that he finds that the reason he uses tags is due to their size, which allows him to move over terrain and attack from a direction either not expected or defended. Climbing plus is a bonus. Thinks is his favourite. And
good point, Mummy.
He does play a lot of tags. I've seen him play a lot of tags.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a very good point. They are much easier to move around the battlefield. But at the same time, they're much harder to hide. Because I love Maggie. I think she's great. But she's got a big fat ass. And she is very difficult to get out of line of sight.
She is a big one.
Psychotic Storm. But definitely bringing a tag forces you to take the hacking seriously and develop countermeasures for it, and the inevitable theft that will occur. Yeah, I think we've all been on the receiving end of having our tags possessed and then used to kill our own armies. And it's not fun.
No.
And when people do it to you, it's not big, it's not clever, and they shouldn't be proud of it.
And they shouldn't be laughing.
They should not be laughing. It's definitely bad form.
Well, they will.
Void Spear, Steve Cooper. No, yes. Wrong Steve. Other Steve.
Cheerful Steve.
Cheerful Steve. Too many Steves. Yeah. In Shaz, you can field 2 Noctivas and a Malignos to get you to the same points value. Slightly more FWC heavy, though. This is true. That's why I think the Cutter is more of a overrated tag than the Sphinx, because the Sphinx could be other things. Or the Sphinx size gap could be other things.
You've jumped a bit, dude.
Did I?
Yeah. Originally, he said, I have to say, he's always struggled making the Sphinx work for me in Shazvasti, but the ratio tends to work in the Morats. So you see, it's a case of the Sphinx and the ratio are totally different tags, totally different ways of using it. That's for sure.
I'm going to leave you in charge of comments because I've got too many things going on too many screens. I can't keep track of everything.
Fine. Absolutely fine. So yes, I think that they are 2 different playstyles. Definitely. Hoppy, hi Hoppy. Tags are a powerful tool if used correctly. I think that's where I'm going wrong. It takes quite some skill to pilot one. If you practice a tag, it can be an essential tool, and it will be quite challenging to your opponent to solve. I'm not sure that your opponent's going to have a challenge solving it with close combat and heavy arms and hacking. I don't think it's a problem to counter a tag at all.
If your opponent's not used to facing tags, though, it can come as a bit of a shock.
I think you have to expect a tag, don't you, nowadays? So you have to take something to take a tag out.
I think tags are certainly a lot more popular now than they used to be with the changes they made, giving them more tactical awareness and the extra damage on their attacks.
I think they had to do that to get them to be used more. I think.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was using it, were they? Really? Until tag line.
Okay, Mr. Endo. Overrated tag is the Steel Phalanx. Is the one in the Steel Phalanx. Achilles does everything better for the same point. Achilles is a tag himself.
He just shrunk. He's a teeny tag.
He's a teeny tag. Achilles is, I would take Achilles over any tag, to be honest.
Okay, Tagamemnon.
Yeah, Tagamemnon. Psychotic Storm. Silhouette gives the tag their mobility, especially in vertical tables, which is one of their primary strengths. Climbing over buildings and stuff, climbing over obstacles and all that kind of stuff. Yes, definitely. I can't argue with that one really. I think you're right. Same with Mr. Ender when he said earlier, getting around and over terrain. They're ideal, really. And again, it depends on your terrain. Steve Cooper, you've said this one. Dan says, yep, an S7 tag with super jump and climbing plus is a super mobile. Looking at you, Guija. Yes, he's going to get over things and get into places where you're not expecting somebody to draw a line of fire.
Is the same thing not true, though, for anything with climbing plus, though, with a decent gunfighter? Anytime you can attack from an angle that people aren't expecting you to, you're at an advantage. Tags just have an easier time getting over terrain normally without those skills.
Fair enough. Psychotic Storm, 2 missile launchers. Noctifers is quite. He's quite the options for your opponent to face. 2 missile launching Noctifers. Ooh, that's good. 2. You don't like 1, do you, Storm? But 2?
You have to count. You know you're playing Shazvasti, and to a lesser extent Combined Army. You've got to assume there's one somewhere, haven't you? You can't afford to not assume he's there. It goes very wrong if you do that.
He also says having repeaters around the tags, so your hackers can immediately take it back from your opponent taking its import is important. So yeah, throwing repeaters around your own tag that's a good thing to do. Something I've never done. I'm going to take that one. Countering tags in many Tartary, lots of AP and some antipodes. Loads of AP. Guns. Lots of firepower with AP firepower. The Gator has natural born warriors, which is the one you were thinking about earlier. Psychotic Storm, getting them in engaged state is a way to neutralize them. It can be done by anybody since you do not have to kill it, really. Which takes us back to that good memory is probably why you ran McMurder into Scarface that time. Jericho says, in my O12, hacking. Yeah. Psychotic. Yeah, it does work. Psychotic Storm, you may take tags because of the mobility you provide. Yep. Dan, another way of countering tag is to ignore them. Kill everything else. I used to have this counter avatars more than once. Yeah, if they've got no orders, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Definitely reduces their effectiveness.
Certainly. Well, I've got 2 orders. I'm not in retreat because it's worth too much. But all I can do is hold this up. It's a good one. Keith, take a tag to distract the opponent from what you really want to do. Yeah, I'll take this bullet magnet and I'm going to go around the back.
Yeah,
they can be remarkably good as distractions. But again,
they are a distraction.
You don't want to dump too many points in them if that's what you're planning on them being.
EB. Hi, EB. I've tried using the iguana and don't like it. It might just not work for Forco.
It's one of the mercenary companies.
Yeah.
Foreign company, that's it.
Foreign company, yep. Which is fair enough. Again, it's one of those things. It depends on how you want to play it. Crouching Tiger. If taking a tag isn't working for you, it isn't working for you more than it does. The answer is get good. Ooh, Crouching Otter. That's a bit harsh. EB tagline was great. Loved using Cordelia and Cordelia in U.S. Air Force. Honestly, like having Cordelia more than Scarface, though. I like Cordelia.
That's a good point. That was a good one, though, wasn't it? When everybody could have Scarface in their army.
Until he got upset. Until he upset everybody.
Yeah.
It was a little weird, though, when you had Scarface versus Scarface half the time. That did feel a little jarring occasionally.
Brian Yao.
Different scar.
So say again.
A slightly different scar on his face. Different Scarface.
Somebody pretending to be him.
Yeah.
Brian Lau. Playing tags feels really matchup dependent. It does, because if you're facing a heavy hacking army, you're gonna struggle. Or somebody who's heavy into close combat, you're going to struggle. Or somebody who's got lots and lots of AP big guns, tank hunters and things, you're going to struggle. So you're going to struggle. Are they worth taking? I keep coming back to this.
It depends.
It depends. Psychotic Storms. Another option, Claw, since you will take an engineer, have the helper bot in silhouette contact. If it gets stolen, it's automatically in the engaged state. Ooh, good point. But quite difficult to do with the orders, I suppose. But if you leave an engineer next to it and engaged straight away, then again, that's going to be a difficult to actually do, I think, at the end of each order. And not use up all your orders because you haven't got many because you've got a tag.
Also, it's a good idea. It's a clever little idea, but blast templates from things like missile launchers are going to get rid of that little helper bot real fast.
Class Claywood, hi class. My group is only playing 200 points so far, so tags don't really show up. having half your army as a tag is going to be too strong or too much of a ordered kind of sink. So I think you're probably right. I don't think tags are worth taking in 200 points. 250 maybe. One of the small tags. I don't. What do you two guys think? At what point value should you start thinking about putting a tag in?
I think you're right. If you're putting a tag in a smaller point game, 150, 200, 250 points, that's your focus of your army. Then everything else has to support it. It's basically a tag and a whole bunch of cheerleaders. You're relying on that tag to do a lot of the work.
And then it's just a case of kill the cheerleaders, win the game.
Potentially, or kill the specialists so that they can't claim objectives, because obviously killing everything isn't always the mission.
Good point.
Really?
It's a very big part of it, isn't it? I mean, if you go in, I mean, I don't think I'd go in for anything less than 200 with a tag. But if you go 200, like you say, it's everything, isn't it? It's all about the tag. Tag goes down, you've had it.
Mm.
So it's a one trick pony, really. Depends how good that trick is and how old your pony is.
I mean, it could also lose you a lot of friends in your player group if you suddenly start bringing tags to 200-point games.
Would you like to play this great game called Infinity? I've brought 2 tags.
We've seen it done.
Okay, Coach Agota, my last game was Corregidor versus TAC, and all the AP was a concern. So I killed all the AP stuff first. Yeah, kill what you. That's all well and good if you can see them. But then you've got the other stuff that can take you out, such as hackers, which will be hidden. You've got close combat SAS specialists that will be in camo and hidden. So yeah, if you can see them, definitely kill them. Definitely kill them. Keith says I played Duo Jotems and Duo Jero both are a nasty piece of work. Duo.
Wow.
That is a lot of metal on the table.
Yeah. A lot of I've heard of Duo Maggie, double Maggie lists, but yeah. Wow.
And the last one from Crouching Otter is tags are worth it if the dice gods are on your side, as always.
Everything works if the dice gods are on your side.
Yeah. A couple of monks running towards the tag, that'd work if dice are on your side.
I think monks are a good counter to tags. They're good in close combat. They got the smoke to get them there, because there aren't many tags that can see through smoke.
No.
The Marut. I'm struggling to think of anything else. I'm sure there is one. One of the Panda tags have it? I can't remember.
Can't think of any more.
So the answer to our question, as always, is it depends.
So do you feel better now, Claude? Did you have the answers?
Oh, it depends. Yeah, it depends. I think tags are cool, and if generally when I put a tag in it, it's because it's cool, and I think I will carry on doing that. It will only ever be an occasional tag in there. It's not going to be always a tag, because you'll just kind of the people I play against regularly will automatically put the defenses in. But if I bring a tag every now and again, it will throw out any surprises, throw out any kind of like tactics that they might have. They're not going to automatically put in their list anti-tag kind of things. So I will only ever take tags every now and again, but I will take tags because they are cool. Even the cutter.
I think that's fair, though. I think if you're playing the same people all the time, you need to mix up your list as a general rule anyway, because otherwise people are going to know. If you always play the same 15 model list for your faction and you always play the same people, then I think that sort of thing is when a game starts to get stale. It's one of the wonderful things about Infinity is the huge array of models you've got to pick from, and the combinations in which you can put them together allows you to keep things fresh.
Yeah, totally.
Final thoughts from you, Ogre?
I'm just thinking to myself, maybe I need to take tags more often, because I don't really take them very often at all. So maybe I need to use my tags more, mix it up a little bit, and then I'll maybe experience the same pain as Claude has recently. But no, I think that's it. Mix it up a little bit, and yeah, like I say, I think for me, maybe I'll mix it up more than I have been doing. So, but yeah, it depends.
Okay, last couple of comments before we go. Tags, more than anything else, need the list to be built around them to support them. Yes,
Absolutely.
Brian says, I feel the Gator and Sally gets lots of play due to their combo skills and points and their competition in Nomads. Yeah. Crouching Tiger says, dual Maggie's ogre? Explanation marks. Key says, all my best army builds are in how they support other troops, not only tags, but playing tags means you learn troop support quickly. And Psychotic Storm says, looking forward to next week's video. I take a tag.
And stuff happens.
Enjoy the game. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I'll let you have the last word, Storm.
So, as always, thank you very much for joining us and listening to us, Witter, for a long time. We really enjoy having you join in with these conversations and give us your thoughts and opinions, because they're not the same as ours, and we can have a friendly spirited debate about Infinity, which is a game we all love. So keep playing. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you later. Bye-bye.